It started as another missing person case. A young woman vanishes on her way to work in Philadelphia. But what began as a desperate search has now turned into a heartbreaking tragedy. Tonight, I'm taking you deep inside the disturbing discovery that has shaken the city. The case of Kada Scott, a 23-year-old caregiver whose disappearance led police to a shallow grave behind an abandoned middle school. This is not just another headline. It's a story about fear, obsession, and a search that ended in the most haunting way imaginable. I'm Joe Oscar, and this is Joe Oscar Stories. It was the night of October 4th, 2025. The streets of Philadelphia were calm, and for the Scott family, it was just another ordinary evening. Kada, their eldest daughter, had just finished dinner with her mom before heading out for her overnight shift at an assisted living facility not far from home. She never liked to be late, her mother would later say. She was responsible. She cared about her patients. But that night, Kada never made it to work. Her car was found parked outside the facility. Inside, everything was in place, her phone, her purse, and even her work badge. It was as if she had simply vanished into thin air. When she didn't come home the next morning, her family reported her missing. At first, police treated it as a routine disappearance. Maybe a misunderstanding, a spontaneous trip, or stress from work. But those who knew Kada insisted. That wasn't like her. She had dreams of becoming a nurse. She loved children, and she had no reason to disappear. Something was wrong, deeply wrong. Within 48 hours, detectives from the Philadelphia Police Department's Northwest Division joined the search. Flyers went up across the city. Family and friends organized community searches. But then came the first disturbing clue. Kada had been receiving harassing phone calls from an unknown number. According to her mother, she mentioned the harassment just days before she disappeared. Investigators traced the calls, leading them to a 21-year-old man named Kian King. King wasn't a stranger. Reports say he and Kada had crossed paths through mutual acquaintances, but details about their relationship remain murky. When detectives questioned him, his answers were inconsistent. At first, he claimed he hadn't seen Kada in weeks. But phone records and security footage told another story. His phone pinged near the assisted living facility around the same time Kada went missing. That was enough to draw attention. Police obtained a warrant, and when they searched King's residence, they found items belonging to Kada, including a piece of clothing believed to have been worn the night she vanished. King was arrested on October 10th and charged with kidnapping, stalking, and false imprisonment. But despite the arrest, one haunting question remained. Where was Kada? For 2 long weeks, Philadelphia watched in agony as the search continued. Community volunteers combed through parks, abandoned buildings, and wooded areas. Her face was everywhere, on lampposts in grocery stores and across social media. The family appeared in interviews, pleading for answers. Kada's mother, through tears, begged, "If anyone knows where my baby is, please just let her come home." The story quickly drew national attention. True crime enthusiasts began connecting the dots, speculating on whether King had acted alone or whether someone else knew what happened. Meanwhile, the police tightened their focus. They brought in cadaver dogs, drones, and even used ground-penetrating radar in suspected locations. But nothing turned up until October 18th. It was early Saturday morning when officers received an anonymous tip. The call provided what police later described as a very specific location behind an abandoned middle school in East Germantown, the old Ada H. Lewis Middle School, just a few miles from where Kada worked. Officers arrived at the scene and began to search the overgrown area near the school's football field. Within hours, AK 9 unit detected the scent of human remains. When detectives started digging, their worst fears were confirmed. Inside a shallow grave, partially concealed under leaves and debris, they found human remains believed to be those of a young woman. The crime scene was immediately sealed off. Detectives from the homicide unit arrived, along with forensic experts. For hours, they worked carefully, documenting every inch of the site, the soil, the placement of the body, even the type of rope found nearby. Word spread quickly. By afternoon, crowds had gathered outside the police perimeter. Some prayed, others cried, and many simply stood in stunned silence. Later that evening, police confirmed what everyone feared. The remains were consistent with a description of Kada Scott. Her family was notified, and the city of Philadelphia fell silent. A few days later, rapid DNA testing brought confirmation, a 99.9% match with samples provided by Kada's parents. The remains found behind that abandoned school were indeed hers. The Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office has not yet released a full autopsy, but investigators believe she had been dead for nearly 2 weeks, meaning she was likely killed shortly after she disappeared. Police are still withholding specific details about how she died, citing the ongoing case. But sources close to the investigation describe it as deeply disturbing. For Kada's mother, the news shattered any remaining hope. In an emotional statement, she said, "We just wanted to bring her home. Now we have to bring her home in a way no parent ever wants to." Meanwhile, attention turned back to Kian King, the man already in custody. At the time of Kada's disappearance, he had a history of harassment and domestic incidents. Court records reveal past restraining orders filed by other women, though none had led to major convictions. Prosecutors say the evidence against King is substantial. Phone records place him near the burial site on the night of October 4th. Surveillance footage from nearby stores shows a car matching his vehicle in the area around 11 p.m. Inside his phone, investigators also uncovered messages that hinted at jealousy and control, messages that made it clear King had been obsessively fixated on Kada. With the discovery of the remains, prosecutors are now preparing to upgrade the charges to murder. Authorities are also investigating whether King acted alone or if someone helped him conceal the body. As of now, no additional arrests have been made, but police haven't ruled it out. The discovery has left the Philadelphia community devastated. At the assisted living facility where Kada worked, her co-workers lit candles and held a silent vigil in her honor. They remembered her as gentle, funny, and incredibly kind. At her family home, neighbors dropped off flowers and food, offering condolences to her grieving parents. The tragedy has also reignited conversations about violence against women, especially young women who report stalking or harassment and are often not taken seriously. Advocates are now calling for stronger protections and faster response systems for missing person cases. Local activist Maya Reed told reporters, "If someone reports being harassed, it should never be ignored." Kada's story is a painful reminder of what can happen when warning signs are missed. As of now, several critical questions remain. What exactly happened between Kada and King on the night of October 4th? Did he lure her away? Or did something go wrong unexpectedly? Was the anonymous tip from someone connected to the case? Or a witness who finally spoke up? And most importantly, how long had she been in that grave before she was found? Investigators say they are piecing together a timeline using surveillance footage, forensic evidence, and digital data from both phones. The case is now fully under the Philadelphia Homicide Division, and the district attorney's office has promised to pursue justice with the full weight of the law. Still, for Kada's family, justice won't bring her back. Her younger sister said through tears, "We just want people to remember her for who she was, not how she died." Since the discovery, the story has made national headlines, appearing on ABC News, People Magazine, Fox 29, and NBC Philadelphia. Social media has flooded with tributes using the hashtag Justice for Kada. Strangers from across the country have donated to the family's GoFundMe to help cover funeral expenses. Meanwhile, law enforcement agencies across Pennsylvania are reviewing unsolved cases to see if there's any possible connection to King or his pattern of behavior. It's too early to say whether this tragedy was part of something larger. But for now, the focus is on giving Kada proper farewell and holding her killer accountable. There's something especially haunting about stories like this, when a person full of life, love, and dreams is taken away far too soon. Kada Scott's story reminds us of the dangers that hide in plain sight. The co-workers, acquaintances, or so-called friends who cross a line and turn obsession into violence. It's also a wake-up call for communities to listen. When someone says they're being followed, threatened, or harassed, believe them. Because behind every missing person poster, behind every viral hashtag, there's a real human being with a family waiting by the phone, praying for one more text, one more call, one more chance. For Kada Scott, that chance never came. But her story will not be forgotten. If you've been following this heartbreaking case, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Do you think more people were involved, or was this the act of one obsessed man? And if you believe stories like Kada's deserve to be told, please help me keep sharing them. Subscribe to Joe Oscar Stories, hit the notification bell, and share this video, because awareness is a first step toward justice. Until next time, stay safe, stay alert, and remember, every missing person is someone's everything. I'm Joe Oscar, and this has been the Kada Scott case.